So as I posted on Twitter and Google, and hopefully you guys follow me on Twitter and Google, I posted that there's two series that I actually enjoyed in the anime, and that being one of them Chrono Crusade and Mare, which I have and watched here through the anime. So I decided that I was gonna go through the manga, see what was up with the stories of the original source, how many differences there would be, and if there were many changes, I was gonna actually make reviews and videos on this. Now I just got started reading chapter 1 of Chrono Crusade. I will be reading Mare tonight. Hopefully, if there's any major changes in the anime from the manga from the very first chapter, then I will make a review about that. But that's the reason why I'm doing this review of Chrono Crusade chapter 1, is because I figured there might be some changes that didn't make it in the anime. Obviously, I've watched the anime before I read the manga, but the point is that there were some changes, and there's some major changes in the first chapter that did not make it in the anime. Now, for those of you fans of Chrono Crusade, this is not going to make me hate the anime in any way, shape, or form if it's not properly adapted. In fact, if anything, it's going to make me even more of a fan of the series, knowing there's going to be a different direction to the story in the manga. But the way that chapter pretty much ends and starts is pretty much identical to the way the very first episode in the anime starts off, with Chrono and Rosette, and obviously they're waking up to obviously deal with the mission. And by the end of the chapter, obviously the ship they end up on ends up crashing into the Statue of Liberty in New York. The same setting here, only circumstances are different, and the way everything played itself out, there are some changes. So I'll start with the first one. We start with the ship, and we see the crew dealing with a demon or a devil. Obviously, they can't handle this. They're trying to barricade a door so they can't get out. It blows them right out of the way and pretty much kills them. And this is coming down to some major differences in the chapter that I noticed. So we go over to where Rosette and Chrono are, and indeed they're in the car. This time, unlike the anime where both of them were asleep and Chrono got woken up by the call from Sister Kate, it was completely different in the manga because Rosette was already up and responding to Sister Kate to deal with this. They can even see the wreckage of the ship that crashed into the port. That didn't happen in the anime at all. In fact, they were some distance away, and they still had to drive. We didn't get to see that in this chapter. They ended up crashing, like in the anime, but that's pretty much all. That's, like I said, many changes like that. And I find it funny for a number of reasons. Number one, in the anime, it was Chrono that kind of woke up Rosette because she was sleeping through the call, and Chrono obviously couldn't answer the call for Sister Kate because obviously he's a devil, and that would have been awkward. But here, it's the complete opposite. It's Rosette trying to wake up Chrono, and this is the reason why I find it funny. I think Chrono uttered the words, "Oh, just a bit more," like he wanted to sleep, like he was half asleep, which is funny because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Rosette muttered the same word when she was trying to when Chrono was trying to wake her up. So I find it kind of ironic. And then it was funny because Chrono said, maybe 10 more hours, and the way it's spelt is MYROR, as in more. And obviously he couldn't pronounce it right because he's half asleep. And then Rosette just kicks him out of the car anyway. So obviously she's freaking out because she realizes she has nobody else but Chrono. There's no more allies to deal with this. So that was kind of funny. That was the first major change I wouldn't say major change, but the thing it's one of those changes that I pointed out, and like I usually say on this channel, paying attention to detail. So, and by the way, the demon that they end up facing is one and the same. In the anime, they take on two devils because they take on two different jobs in the very first episode. That did not happen in the manga. It happened. They intertwine with one another, and the demon and the devil that ends up going on the ship ended up attacking Chrono and Rosette. So nothing was separated in that aspect. So like I said, that was the first big change that I noticed. So obviously they go to the scene of the crime, which happened in the anime, and the way they ended up is pretty much the same. The demon, however, it's been a while since I watched the anime, but I'm pretty sure it's different from what we saw. In fact, it looks like he has a Japanese mask on. It's kind of funny, but this devil is way different than what I remember in the anime. I'll say that much. So obviously it's wreaking havoc. You see Chrono and Rosette finally arrive. They crash into the sidewall, which happened in the anime, which I thought was funny. But instead of going inside one of the warehouses, which did happen, obviously dealing with seeing some of the devil summonings that are on display, they never went inside. In fact, the devil that they end up encountering actually attacked Chrono and Rosette right there. So I did notice that Chrono's personality is a little bit more carefree than the anime in that regard. Like Rosette is pretty much it's dead similar. Like she doesn't like being made a fool out of, obviously, but she does come up with an interesting quote when she's dealing with the demon. Obviously, she gets ticked off when she says, "Don't interrupt while I'm talking," and like Rosette's like, "No," and it's weird because out of all people, you would think Chrono would know if a devil was pretty much dealt with, right? So that's weird from the manga standpoint. So he crawls into the ship. They go in pursuit. Like I said, they dealt with two different devils in the anime because obviously the devil that they encounter has the ability to not only manipulate souls but also drain of the life force. It's kind of similar to what happens in the anime, but like I said, the way it ends up and starts is pretty much identical, if you want to call it that. But so, and you got Chrono checking for the corpses. There's no signs of souls anywhere. So what he did was he drained someone of someone's life, and then he's able to command the souls, which is what happens when Rosette ends up chasing after him. And then the way they get separated in the ship, and before we get to that, they actually encounter a lot of treasure and, well, I guess gold or whatnot in a previous Great War. So this was, I guess, these were reaping the benefits of that particular war. Golden pieces of art, which obviously would mean you become rich. So that didn't happen in the anime, I'm pretty sure. The way they get separated is completely different because they actually elect, like, split up, and Chrono could take care of the ship because obviously it's off course. In this case, they get separated because of the attack, and she gets sent down below. And she's like, Chrono, just concentrate on making the barrier while I go around the ship. And she obviously gets burned, obviously, because there's a lot of steam because it's a ship. So that was funny. Then she sees the souls that are being, being controlled by this demon, into like attack. And the thing about it is, we do not see Sister K or the Magdalene Order HQ in this chapter at all, because what happened in the anime. Remember, Chrono got burned because obviously he was dealing with holy water, trying to deal with the first demon they encountered. It didn't work. They blew the warehouse, the Kingdom Come, and pretty much the whole port. So they screwed up that, but that didn't happen in the manga. So I thought that was another big change that happened. I guess if you want to call it a change in the anime, because obviously this is the proper source. So, and probably the biggest part of this entire chapter is this demon has the ability to talk because it has a human soul inside of him. I'm not gonna lie, when I read that, it gave me so much D Grey Man vibes, it's not even funny. Because not only does it talk and it says, I want to go home, and then you got, which is funny scene because you got Rosette being disturbed because obviously Chrono's talking for the speaker, which is right next to her, so it's scared her like crazy. So that was kind of funny. And he's like, we're going to crash again, and obviously going to crash into the Statue of Liberty. So we can't deal with the damage, so we've got to take care of this now. So, and Rosette's being under attack from this devil. He's trying to suck her in, and the moment she makes contact with it, she actually sees memories of the human soul that's inside this devil. This is why it gave me so much D. Grey Man vibes, because I remember Alan Walker when he was dealing with, what was it, the Fallen Suman in the anime. The same thing pretty much happened to him. He got sucked in, right, and then he was able to see the glimpses of memories that happen that belong to Suman. It's the same thing here where we see, like, I guess he was part of royalty, and then however he ended up like this. And then while Rosette's being under attack, this is like one of the big changes from Chrono's character, because like he's like, oh, he got that pissed off look on his face. He's like, her soul is mine. I won't allow you to eat it. Like he's talking about it as a possession, right? That's I may be reading too much into that, but that's what the vibe I got. And then Rosette looks like she's blushing. She's like, I'm not yours. So that was kind of funny. But that line, bro, I was like, wait, what? But then again, in episode 2, when Chrono goes nuts, because obviously Rosette almost gets killed, he does say something like, you dare hurt what's mine? So, again, and again, if I had to place the top 5 best moments of the series, that'd be number 4 for sure. It would be easy to break free from. Obviously, they can't control the ship as this is going on. Rosette that deals with the demon, or the devil, in this case, with the same gospel bullet that Chrono gave in the anime. And this time, obviously, they didn't encounter the Elder, so we don't know how they got it. I'm assuming that's the case, but we don't get it. It's completely off screen. So Chrono gives the gospel bullet over to Rosette. She blasts through, and then at that same point in time, I think that's actually what caused the ship to go off course and literally go into the Statue of Liberty. But before that happens, there is a big quote in this from Rosette where she's like, I think in the anime she's like kind of criticizing the demon for doing what he did. But in this case, she acknowledges the fact that right before he tried to eat me, I got a glimpse of his past, and she felt sorry for him, but it doesn't give him the right to do what he did. So you can see she has sympathy for the demon, even though she knew what it was doing was completely messed up. So that's the first big character change that I saw from the manga perspective and the episode, because I don't think Rosette felt that way when dealing with any of the devils, besides obviously with the association with Chrono. So yeah, so that's a big character change from the manga and the anime. The fact that they see a golden statue that belonged to him in the past. It's a guardian from India or Nepal. It must have been taken when the country was colonized, or it must have been stolen. So knowing this, who it belonged to, she says, let's loosen the seal and go back in time, which is interesting because that never happened in the anime. Yes, a time was reversed, but not to like go to a different timeline, I do believe. So we only know that device that Rosette and Mary Magdalene held or used was to save Chrono's life. So, and to reverse time and to release the seal so Chrono could unleash his true form, right? So, but this is like able to use this in order to go back in time, but obviously it's going to take a toll on the life force. But while they're doing this, obviously the ship lands into the Statue of Liberty like it did in the anime, and that's how it ends. So despite the fact that major changes in the manga first chapter and the very first episode of Chrono Crusade, I'm not gonna lie, I think I appreciated this more because there was more depth to Rosette's character in the way she resolved this, and the way she had to resolve this without Chrono's help to Rosette. In this case, she already had it on her, so she was prepared. She already was like, yo, prepare the barrier, let's do this. So, and the way she said it, obviously crash into the Statue of Liberty. It's not my fault, all this happens to me. That's exactly what she said in the anime, but different scenarios. So I appreciate that, and that's why I'm making these reviews. So, and if this keeps up, like there's going to be a different direction in the story, I'm all for it. Like I said, it could make me even more of a big fan than I already was. And this series is criminally underrated in the anime, so emotionally charged, and there are a lot of good scenes in Chrono Crusade. And believe it or not, don't let this fool you. Obviously, because my channel is named after Chrono, Super Saiyan Chrono. If you couldn't tell already. Chrono is not my favorite character in the anime. In fact, it's actually Mary Magdalene. So, yeah. So I can't wait what happens with her character in the manga. Maybe some changes. Because I think it was a crime that she only appeared on one episode, at least from a flashback. But That's just my opinion. All in all, I'm looking forward to see where this goes. I don't know if I'm going to review each chapter, even if it's major changes or not, because like I said, I'm invested in the series. But unless you want me to, like, if you're a fan of the series, you want me to review each chapter, then let me know in the comments below. Obviously, the reason for that is I'm obviously going to go through Mera as well, and that's just as many chapters. This has 52, I believe, plus 2 extras. So yeah, so there's a lot of chapters to go over. So either way, I'm happy to go through this. I may do reviews here and there or discussions, maybe when it comes to the similarities between the anime counterparts of the characters and the manga counterparts, maybe discussions, but definitely differences between Rosette's character in the anime and the manga, at least right now, and especially Chrono. So we'll see as time goes on. No pun intended. So I can't wait for that. Let me know what you guys think I should do in the comments below. That's it from me. Thanks so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe channel. Catch you guys later. Bye.